Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras, and before we begin, I want to again remind you not to forget about our all-new streaming platform, ILTV Plus, available on every app store and at ILTV.tv. Now, coming up in today's newscast, selfies getting people into major trouble. 2 Israelis arrested in Turkey over the weekend for espionage. Meantime, let us live. Palestinians in Gaza taking to the streets again, but this time to push back against terror group Hamas. And finally, women's equality activists in Israel getting fired up following this guy's taking of a second wife. To begin, northern Israelis forced to evacuate their homes over the weekend as over 200 forest fires broke out across the region. On Sunday morning alone, for example, some 15 firefighting teams and 6 planes arriving to fight a blaze outside of the city of Ma'alot Tarshiha, over 100 homes in the city being emptied. Likewise, on Saturday, families from central Israel's Zaytan fleeing a wildfire near their village. And on Friday, the entire village of Gita, over 75 households in the Galilee, evacuating before a fire arrived on their doorsteps. Several homes, cars, and other properties reported damaged. A 14-year-old girl reportedly moderately injured. And while dry heat and heavy winds fanned the flames, police are investigating each fire for the possibility of arson. And finally, shifting from bad to worse, a number of dust storms and dense hazes also blanketing the country with extreme levels of air pollution over the weekend. The Environmental Protection Ministry and Health Ministry advising people to avoid physical activities outdoors. Turning now to Turkey, Jerusalem feverishly working to secure the release of an Israeli couple that was arrested in Istanbul on Thursday. The pair of tourists and their Turkish friend charged with espionage for snapping selfies in front of President Erdogan's official residence, and then a Turkish court on Friday extending their detention by at least another 20 days. But those close to the couple say that they had no idea that what they were doing was illegal, and in fact, some are accusing Turkey of simply using the Israelis as political pawns. Israeli officials similarly arguing that, quote, Google has better pictures of the president's residence than those taken from afar by the suspects. In any case, as parents to a child on the autism spectrum, the detainee's family and the Israeli government all pushing for immediate clemency.
מדובר בשני אזרחים תמימים שנקלעו בטעות לסיטואציה מורכבת. שוחחתי אתמול עם המשפחה ואנחנו עושים הכל כדי להביא את הנושא לפתרון.
Joining to discuss is expert on Turkish affairs, Dr. Esa Ofir. Dr. Ofir, thank you so much. Now, why do you believe Turkey is being so harsh on these Israelis?
Well, I saw some voices in the Israeli media to try to figure out what Erdogan wants. And I think what Erdogan wants is not important at the moment. We need to focus, first of all, on where we can put pressure on Turkey in order to agree that Turkey agreed to release these 2 Israeli citizens. And I think this is the ultimate goal of the incident right now.
Okay, but again, I mean, if we're trying to analyze to some degree this arrest, you know, it seems a little bit more political, or at least politically charged, because surely the police officers or whoever it was that arrested them could have just asked to delete the photos or you know, confiscated their phone or something.
Yes, of course. It's I think we might be in a situation in which Turkey would try to use the Israeli couple as diplomatic pawns, like you said before. To make sort of hostage diplomacy, and actually, it's not the first time we see this type of behavior. I want to say that in recent years, Turkey has detained a number of foreigners on seemingly dubious grounds. Yes, and they sought to use them as sort of leverage. We saw the German journalist, for example, Denise Yücel, and what happened with Pastor Andrew Brunson So I'm afraid it's seemingly it's going to be some kind of hostage diplomacy, unfortunately.
Right now, you alluded to this earlier, that it's maybe a little too early or too difficult at this moment to speculate. But again, if we're talking about leveraging these Israelis, to what end? What is it that Turkey is looking to maybe gain from Israel through the arrest of two civilians?
I think usually if you look on other cases, for example, countries like Iran or Russia, when they do the hostage diplomacy, when they turn to this sort of dealing, it's coming from insecurity, I think, and I think you cannot ignore the internal dynamics in Turkey. Yes, they suffer from a serious economic crisis. Erdogan is in electoral bad shape, and I think you can put all this together. Yes, and if you look on past incidents, you can understand what he wants to achieve.
Do you think that it's possible that this could be even more petty than maybe we are attributing, that the reasons for arresting these two Israelis could be just to get back at Israel for showing up their arrest of all these alleged Mossad agents who were mostly Palestinian and Hamas members?
I think, yes, it is part of the atmosphere, yes, and we need to remember that Erdogan usually gains positive impact from his confrontations with Israel and with the Jews, and the current regime in Turkey doesn't see Israel as a friend,
All right. Well, Dr. Asa Ophir, thank you so much for joining us, and of course we're hoping for the safe return of the Israelis in captivity.
Thank you very much.
In other news, tragedy in Mexico. The body of a missing Israeli hiker finally found after an extensive and exhausting 3-day search. According to one of his friends who was traveling with him, 25-year-old Yanai Rimon left Israel for a post-army trip roughly 6 months ago. He was a member of the Special Forces unit. Yet he went missing last Wednesday when he fell into a raging river near Las Novas along the Mexico-Guatemala border, the quick and heavy current sweeping Yanai away, and the Sderot native washing up along the shores downriver 3 days later. The group of 7 that Rimon was in was not supposed to pass over any particularly challenging tracks, however, according to the father of one of Rimon's friends. And as for the search itself, originally carried out by friends and nearby locals, rescue efforts later expanding to include professional teams with helicopters, drones, and search dogs. Additionally, private Israeli rescue teams and the Mexican Jewish community deploying to aid in the efforts. But in any case, Rimon set to be transferred to Israel as soon as possible for burial, his family describing Yanai as a child of light who constantly acted for the common good.